Hello, everyone. Hi, Sages and Peeps. It is I, Indigo Sage, here with Pia Talks, and we are reviewing the movie Brain on Fire. Okay, one of my favorite movies. And with this movie, it is kind of a serious based movie. It's a drama, a medical drama movie. All right. And so let me go ahead and just tell you guys a little bit of what it's about.
Susanna Calhoun was born January 30th, 1985, and she is an American journalist and author known for writing the memoir Brain on Fire about her hospitalization with a rare autoimmune disease, which was misdiagnosed for madness. The book was published in 2012. She's been quoted in saying, "What I remember most is fear and anger." She also wrote a second book about her experience, but more on that later. A feature film on her memoir was released in June 2016 on Netflix, directed by Gerard Barrett and starring Chloe Grace Moretz, who played the role of Susanna. Rounding out the cast is Chloe Grace, who played Susanna, and Thomas Mann, who played Stephen. And just to let you guys know, Susanna and Stephen did actually get married in 2015. Stephen, Thomas plays Stephen, who's Susanna's boyfriend. Then we have Jenny Slate, who plays Margot, her best friend at work, and Tyler Perry, who plays her boss, Richard. Carrie Ann Moss plays Rona, who is her mother, Susanna's mother, and Richard plays Tom, who's Susanna's dad. Agam plays Dr. Khan, who's the doctor who goes and solicits the help that was obviously needed right when she asked the help of Dr. Najjar, who's played by Naveed. Now, back to the mom and dad characters. The reason why it says the great debate of us movie reviewers is because I, Indigo, and Pia, we kind of go back and forth just a little bit about our opinion on this movie, on how they handled the situation, mom versus dad.
It starts out with a concerning moment when the main character of the show, can't blow out her birthday candles. Okay. And the main character's name is Susanna. Susanna can't blow out her candles, and soon after, her dad stops by her house because she called him to fix a drip that she swears she had, but there's no evidence of the drip. However, her dad does look around her apartment and sees that it is filthy, so he asks her about that apartment. He blames it on her boyfriend for no apparent reason that we could see, that I could see. And then occasionally we do see her have unexplained seizures. After Susanna does kind of go berserk in the office, she, jumps on top of the desk and wigs out a little bit. Okay. Her boss sends her home asking her bestie if she is on drugs. Many doctors cycle in and out as the examination shows no cause for her abrupt change in behavior. She reaches a point where we see her mom is taking care of her until she needs a break. And then her dad cares for her, which is when he finally admits something outside of her control is causing the erratic behavior. She's admitted to the hospital where her parents demand that she stays until the doctors can diagnose her. Meanwhile, her boyfriend never gives up hope. And he visits often and plays his songs on his guitar that he wrote for her. Susanna loses her ability to speak, and she's in and out of consciousness and becomes catatonic. Her best friend from work visits her, bearing gifts and well wishes from everyone at work. And as she's leaving, she tears up. She starts to tear up, during the visit, because I believe she didn't know that it was that serious. Her future seems bleak in every way until Dr. Najjar shows up in a classroom and begs the professor to look at the case. Now, he runs cognitive test that shows him exactly what's wrong. He's able to diagnose her with the anti-NMDA receptor encephalitis. She gets her life back, and those two actually become real, true life friends. Okay. What did you like about the film, and what did you not like about the film? How did you feel about this film?
All right. So you stated that this was one of your favorites. I can tell you that I did like the movie. It's not exactly one of my favorites. This is a wonderful Netflix original. What I loved about this movie is it is based on a true story. It's Susanna's story. What I liked about it is, as young as she was, this girl was in her early 20s. She was working for a major New York paper. And she was already working in her career as a writer. She may not have had the biggest stories, but she was doing it. And I thought that was amazing. I also thought what was weird was this illness came upon her. It seems to be just out of the blue. She seemed to be perfectly fine doing her day-to-day task, writing her stories and living, hanging out with her friends and enjoying her time as a young lady. And then all of a sudden, this illness just came out of nowhere. What I really enjoyed about this movie is her friendship with her coworker, Margot. It was true friendship, true love. They cared about each other. They knew each other, and they watched out for each other. Another thing that I absolutely enjoyed about this movie is the relationship between her and Richard. Her boyfriend wanted to do everything for her. He wanted to be supportive. He didn't want to walk away from her. And somebody to be so young as they both were, he wasn't fickle. His love and support for her was real. It was honest. It was true. And I really love how her parents, even though they were separated and moved on to different relationships, they loved their daughter more than anything. And they were willing to stand together to protect their daughter. And the mother and father were willing to go up against the system at the hospital to get their daughter the best treatment. You weren't going to just blow smoke at these parents, and they weren't going to accept just any old response. And that is what I absolutely loved. Now, what I didn't like.
Well, hold on real quick. Let me say this. So it sounded like you were saying Richard, you said you liked her and Richard, and then you went into the boyfriend. I just want to make sure that everybody knows the boyfriend is Steven. Richard is her boss.
I meant to say, what I didn't like is because it wasn't that I didn't like it. I just felt bad for it. It was when things got so bad and she started to fall off at work. I hated to see her in the midst of this battle that she was going to face, or that she was facing, that she didn't even know. It seemed as these things started happening to her, she was definitely unaware of what was going on. She didn't realize what was happening. And that's what made me feel so bad for her.
I totally agree, because also at those times, it seemed like from everywhere, people were asking, is she drinking? Is she partying? Is it drugs? Is she doing drugs? What's going on with her? And, there were a couple of times where she just said, I just don't feel right, and I guess it bothered me that I'm like, you guys, that our society, I guess, goes to that first, because each one of those people who were asking those questions, they know her, and they know that this is just out of the blue behavior. So why would you instantly just jump to, even though this person is saying, I don't feel right, you just jump to drugs, alcohol, partying? If she didn't used to do drugs, alcohol, and partying, then no, that's not what it is. Try to help her. But I guess, you got to vet out questions, I guess. I don't know. But if I knew someone, I feel like I would just know that that's not it, which is like her friend was like, no, that's not it, And so I want to say, when we talk about how it came out of nowhere, it's her right hemisphere of her brain that just began to swell up, which was out of nowhere. But that is what caused the memory loss, the seizures, and all of that, and the outburst and everything. Her brain was slowly just becoming larger than what it was supposed to. And what I did like was that the theme of this movie is positivity, loyalty, fear, and memory. And I think the fear is the fact that I think we saw that when she was hesitant in telling people exactly what was going on, because she was feeling it. She felt it at her birthday party when she couldn't blow out the candles, but she didn't say anything. I believe her mom said, you want me to blow them out? And she was like, yeah. That's the fear.
Message that I got from this movie was, be an advocate for yourself, but be an advocate for your children. It's okay to ask for second and third and fourth opinions, fifth if you have to. What I got from this is trying to be strong, fighting for your rights, and showing how much you love a person. Never give up on that person, because her parents could have just given up and said, all right, go ahead, medicate her and put her in a home. But they didn't do that. They said, no, our daughter is bright. She is funny. She is lively. She is not a drug user. She is not an alcoholic. You will not give us these misdiagnoses and try to tell us that it is what it's not. And that is what rescued her from this, 30 or 31 day hell that she lived in, wasting away. So that's the message that I got. Never just accept what the first or second or third doctor tells you. Keep praying about it and believing that there is some way of helping and fixing the issue.
It's funny you should say that, because what I don't like about it is the fact that her dad did not believe her at first. He didn't. He did not believe her at first. He did not believe her until he had to take care of her.
Yeah, because he hadn't seen it. He hadn't seen the full aspect of it. He didn't realize how bad it was. And the mom didn't realize how bad it was either until she started taking care of her. Now, once that person is living in your home and you see them change from day to night, then that says, oh, wow, this really isn't, I'm, living my best life, working for the Post, living in the big city. This is something is medically wrong with this person. It wasn't until she had her big outburst with her father that he was on the, he was on it. Like, we're going to get this girl some help.
Yeah, but her mom was already on it. So we'll have to agree to disagree, because her mom was on it. Her mom did listen to her. Her dad did not. Her dad was busy blaming the
Yeah, but when her
boyfriend.
dad did, we will agree to disagree on this one, because when her dad did jump on the wagon, it was her dad that made stuff move. It wasn't the mom. The mom took a back seat. It was the dad that was yelling and talking and verbally acting with those doctors. And the mom was laid back a little. It's like she was too scared, or she was just worried about her daughter and she didn't know where to go. So the dad jumped in and took over for a little bit there. And so what I'm saying is they both were advocates for their daughter. It did take the dad a little while to jump
I was gonna
on
say
board,
he should have did it
but
sooner.
when he jumped on board, he was there and
He
he
could have been
was not
dead.
going anywhere.
Yeah, he should have did
even
it sooner.
started to like Stephen more. So, I mean, sometimes as a parent, you don't always believe or trust right away, but when you get there, that's he was there. And that's what I appreciate. Both of them, they were there. Neither parent just said, put her in a home. They were both
Yeah,
there.
and they were
We're
offered
gonna
that.
bring our
Yeah,
daughter back.
yeah, and I agree with that. I just wish he would have did it sooner. That's all.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't have took me that long with my child. That's all. But
Yeah.
okay, so that's about it.
That was a great movie, guys. You should definitely check it out. If you have Netflix, it is a worthy watch. And I think it was even less than 2 hours long, and the acting was seamless.
Yeah. My rating is 3 yellow hearts. I wanted to give it more, but some of those scenes seemed rushed to me. And so I had to pull back. So 3 hearts.
I think for the acting in the movie and for the emotion that was brought out, I'm going to give it 4 yellow hearts.
All right. Okay.
It's amazing to think that this is, in fact, a true story. And I'm so happy that it ended well for Susanna. Dr. Nazir asked Susanna to keep in touch, and Susanna did just that. They developed a friendship and remain close presently. In 2019, Susanna's second book was published, and it's called The Great Pretender: The Undercover Mission That Changed Our Understanding of Madness. In the work, she accuses psychologist David Rosenhan of fabricating the results of seminal research published in the journal Science. David's work demonstrated that staff working at psychiatric hospitals, including psychiatrists, could be easily misled to diagnose schizophrenia when individuals were perfectly sane and reported the mistreatment of patients in these facilities. Susanna was drawn to this study due to her own experiences with being improperly diagnosed with mental illness. But as she researched David and his activity, she began to find contradictions in his work that made her question the validity of his experiment. Now, there was an article done on her second book, The Great Pretender, and it was published in The Guardian, and it goes into great detail. And it uses one particular photograph to illustrate the article that I'm sure we're all familiar with.
And until next time, thank you,
Bye.
peeps and sages.